Hey everybody, what's up? I'm going to get this out of the way first. If you like my channel, if you're interested in the new content I got coming out, please not only like this video, but subscribe to the channel too. And if you want to be notified when I have new videos popping up, hit that little bell icon after you subscribe and you'll get the notifications. Alright, so what are we getting into today? Well, I have my 2018 Nomad here, and the poor baby, she's been creaking on me. So I lubed all the pivot points. There's actually a grease fitting on here, and took it out and it's no better. It's driving me crazy. Couldn't figure out what it was, and then by chance I happened to push on the sprocket and the sprocket creaked. So it's a cinch sprocket. It's a Race Face Aeffect crank, and it's got this cinch bolt on it. So what it looks like is that cinch bolt might have worked its way loose. Either way, it might have egg-shaped a little bit in there. It might have a little extra play. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into this and see if what I suspect has happened, and we're going to fix it. And I got a little trick in there to show you as well. Hope this proves helpful. Okay, now the tools you're going to need for this job to do it properly. Took the liberty of taking this out, brand new. I just got this today. It's the Park Tool CCP 44. That's the CCP 44 from Park Tool. This is to pull your crank arm. They have several models. You have to make sure you get the right model. This is the one that will work with the Race Face Aeffect cranks. I had another model and I had to wait for today to play with this. So for that cinch bolt, you're going to need a rear sprocket socket. Spline tool for your rear cassette. You're going to need that. You may or may not want, but I highly suggest a torque wrench. You'll need the Allen wrench to pull your bolt off your crank. And possibly a rubber mallet, depends on how tight that crank arm's on there. We're going to need this to be hit with this. And then to clean it up, I have some of my dollar store LA is Awesome from my previous video. And then you have thread locker. So usually you get a cheaper tube, comes like this, little red tubes. You want the blue thread locker, that's the medium strength. Or for me, who use a lot of thread locker on everything, you can get the medium strength in a gel. You click it and it comes out the end. So I go through it quite a bit. I like the gel, it doesn't run off. So just a few little tips there and the tools you're going to need. So I'll show you where to use the thread locker later on, and let's get into this crank. Okay, so first things first, I have the chain guide on here, so I'm going to want to push that up out of the way so I can remove the chain. Probably going to want to take and lock my derailleur in place just to give me some slack on that chain, make it easier to take it off. Much easier there. Drape it on the inside. Then you're going to want to get your Allen wrench, and might need a little oomph to get this sucker off. There we go. Alright. A little bit of grease on there. Nothing we have to worry about just yet. And here's the tool. So the idea is this threaded part here threads into your crank arm, and then you turn this and it brings this driver out and pushes against your axle. So we're going to bring this on in there. There we go. Run that nut all the way in. Just hand tight, you don't have to go super crazy. You want to make sure you have enough threads on it. It shouldn't be a problem. And then this. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Alright, it's coming. Didn't even need the hammer after all. Alright, so it's pretty loose now. You start unthreading this. Take the tool out of the way. Just slide this off the rest of the way, and you see the other crank arm drop. Make sure you don't lose any spacers that you have that are behind there. And you have some grease around here, which is probably what helped it come off nice and easy. Here's your cinch nut. This should be 40 Newton meters or 30 foot-pounds torque. And just out of curiosity, let's see real quick what we got here. Oh, did I say 30 foot-pounds? How about not even finger tight? So what I had done was I had pushed against the sprocket as it was on the bike just by accident while I was trying to figure out, by putting my hand in different spots, different pivot points, to see if I could feel the vibrations of where the CrEaK was coming from. And lo and behold, pushing right to left on this gave me some vibration. So we're going to take this apart and we're going to use the thread locker on it. So let's skip right ahead to the workbench and see what we can do. Alright, so here we are at the workbench. Let's get that cinch bolt off of there. Bolt, nut. So, well, that came off way too easy. And it's got a lot of grease up in there. This has been well lubed when it was put on. So you see how this will fit up in there. You have your little grooves. So we can get this off. There we go. Again, grease up in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to spray this up. And we're going to clean it. Use some degreaser. You could use brake parts cleaner. I don't necessarily like brake parts cleaner on painted surfaces or powder coated. I just don't want to take a chance of ruining the finish on the cranks here. So the degreaser works really well. You just have to make sure it's dry and you get it all off. We're not painting it, so you can leave a little bit of residue. It's not got to be super perfect, but the cleaner you get it, the better the thread locker will adhere. That's a lot of problems I see with people who use thread locker, is they just put it on and they don't clean the parts. So how do you expect anything to stick to glue, or any glue to stick to any grease or oils? So in that aspect, it is something just like paint. You got to have that surface tension. You got to be able to adhere to it. And there's a little, and I'm getting it cleaned up. There's a little washer in there. Make sure you don't lose that. All right. So we got that cleaned up. Let's get this cleaned up here. I don't have to worry about the teeth on the outside, just all the little notches on the inside. Get that all nice and cleaned up there. Right. Make sure it's going to fit. Alright. So what we're going to do, just because we want to make sure that sprocket stays on there really well and take up any slop that might have developed from it being loose, or to prevent any from happening in the future, we're going to run this thread locker all around these teeth. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to use anything too permanent. Eventually you're going to want to get that sprocket off, unless you're selling a bike, and then the next guy's going to want to get the sprocket off. And so I'm putting this on liberally, but it helps because I have the gel. So I like the gel in all things. My super glues, I like the gel. They don't run all over the place. So that lined up. Make sure we line up our sprocket properly. And put that nut back on there. Always start all your threaded things by hand. Get a few threads going. It's alright. Because what you don't want to do is put the tool on there and just get going, and then oops, now you've cross threaded it. So got that snugged up by hand. We're going to take our torque wrench. I did not set this already. Remember, it was 30 foot-pounds. So we got Newton meters there, foot-pounds here. And you always want to run your torque wrenches out for storage. You never want to store the torque wrench on any type of a setting other than all the way back off to 0. So let's see if we can get this done without a vise. Hopefully we can. Lean on the pedal here. Put a little more. And there we go. You have to go smooth with the torque wrench. Any type of a jerky motion is going to get you a false reading. So have that on there. Let's wipe up any excess we have around here. I don't have any blue on the bike, so nobody needs to see the blue around my crank. Then you're going to want to let this set up for a bit. It's an anaerobic, meaning it'll set up once it's depleted of air. So we'll clean this up, get it back on the bike, and we'll go for a little spin. See if we haven't fixed that CrEaK. All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. So there you have it. Ride's all done. Not one bit of creaking. I let it sit overnight. Let that set up nice. It's not going to hurt you to let it go one day. You know, probably be okay in a few hours if you had to ask me. But I let it set up overnight just so I didn't have to do the job again and could guarantee that that was going to fix it. So proper torque on that cinch nut. And hey, who would have thunk? So hope this helps some of you out there. At the very least, how to take a Race Face Aeffect crank off and the tool you need for it. So have fun, keep riding.